Sam from the right-wing news website Breitbart London. Welcome back to the Daily Politics. Does the reporting of negative incidents reportedly involving migrants, like the ones in Cologne, does that have an impact on the view and perception of migrants and refugees here in the UK?
Yeah, I think it almost certainly does. It certainly had an overnight impact in Germany. When you look at the polls, the YouGov poll that came out, which showed that 46% were against the rate of migration in Germany, now 60% are against this rate. I think that's obviously going to have ramifications in Britain. We don't see ourselves as non-Europeans. Even Eurosceptics in this country realise that we are a part of Europe. They would just say that they don't want to be part of the European Union. So there's going to be big ramifications, actually.
Right, but is that overnight change of opinion, as you see it, wrong?
No, I've argued from the outset that actually, you began the programme, the segment on 1.1 million migrants. Actually, my sources in the European security services are telling me it's more like 1.5 million because they don't count overstayers. They can't count people that they don't know.
No, my question was, is it wrong to have changed people, to change their minds so dramatically as a result of a number of incidents in their general view towards migrants?
No, I don't think so, because this is where these are where the warnings were originally anyway. It's just a case that at the beginning, at the forefront of this, those people weren't listening. Now they've actually had to see it, and these people have had to go through really bad situations for people to see this problem.
I mean, there were warnings that countries like Germany wouldn't be able to cope from people from within Germany, that the open door policy towards refugees would lead to problems. So are you surprised by this change following the accusations of sexual assault by groups of migrants or refugees in Germany?
These sexual assaults are obviously a bad thing, and no one is going to say otherwise, but I think it's been blown out of all proportion. I mean, I have a few months ago I had a 16-year-old boy murder another 16-year-old boy about half a mile from my parish, from my church. Doesn't even make the national press. But this sort of thing suddenly becomes a way of focusing all our anxieties and so forth. Yes, incorporating large numbers of people, and from my mind, the more the merrier, because they're being saved from a terrible situation in Syria and parts of North Africa and so forth, that we should celebrate that fact. And yes, it's going to be difficult, but actually I think we should absolutely have to be up for all the troubles that come.
Because you're blaming an entire group of people for the actions of a few bad apples.
I don't think anybody's trying to claim that every migrant going into Europe is going to start raping people. I mean, you had the Charlie Hebdo cover showing that, the 3-year-old boy, Alan Kurdi, who died trying to make it over to Europe, would grow up to become, in their words, a bum groper. But it's a satirical magazine. They do that provocation intentionally. They do it to show how ridiculous something like that is. They're not actually saying that. And nobody's saying that all these migrants are going to come up and be rapists or sexual assaulters or robbers. But what we're saying is we don't know who the people coming into Europe are. There are criminals amongst the migrants. There are terrorists amongst the migrants. We've seen that. We know that to be a fact now. That is true.
And we have homegrown. We have as many
Absolutely.
more homegrown, and we have
any
as
arguments
many.
from me.
We have as many people who are born and bred in this country who are rapists, who are criminals, who are. And why is it that we are demonising?
So why import more?
A particular? Because they're called the population in general. That's what they're called. I mean, these are not people who are...
Why not proper background checks?
Sorry?
Why not proper background checks?
I don't think that's practical. And also, I have to say...
So just let them all in?
The people... Yes, I'm a let them all in.
Just open the floodgates, let everyone in.
No, I've got a yes.
Uncle Tom Cobley and ISIS.
I've just said yes. Why do you keep on saying ISIS like that? Why do you keep on presuming, cursing these people with that? They're running away from ISIS, they're running away from their bombs, they're running away from this war that we've done too much to stoke up and create. And actually, if we close the doors on them, we're doubling up on the moral...
I didn't say close the door, by the way. I said proper background checks. There's a difference.
Right, let me just ask you, though, one question. Do you think, Raheem, that there is a case of Islamophobia here that's sort of masquerading as anti-migrant or anti-refugee, using the sort of sentiments you're saying, actually, they're just anti-Islam?
I have a big problem with the word Islamophobia. Being somebody who was raised in a Muslim family, having had anti-Muslim sentiment aimed at me, I have a problem with calling an anti-mass migration sentiment and actually weeding out. It's the same thing as you said. It's a few people in there that might be instinctively hateful towards Islam that you're tarring the whole anti-migration movement for those people. So it's the same thing. The same argument can be had back and forth.
But conflating the two does the same sort of thing, doesn't it? I mean, in the end, isn't it going to be exploited by the far right and extremist movements?
I think you're overestimating the reach of the far right now, especially in Germany. When you look at the Pegida movement, they have strict rules about what they are and are not allowed to do on their marches. When 5,000 people took to the streets in Dresden last night, they are not allowed to drink, they are not allowed to shout, and if they are doing those things, they are kicked out of the Pegida movement.
Right. I mean, do you think that it is a little lazy and complacent if people do suggest that this is just Islamophobia?
It is Islamophobia. I mean,
what is Islamophobia? Any criticism of Islam?
It's patently clear that the way in which people are being targeted and the language that's used about Islam and Muslims is clearly provocative, is clearly, and indeed through our government and the prevent strategy and all that sort of nonsense, it's targeting Muslims. It doesn't help. And what we've got to trust in this country is we've got to trust that the rule of law is blind to all that, is blind to that. That's how it should be, and we shouldn't be targeting Muslims. Refugees should be welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm going to have to end it there.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.